9 o'clock? Do I really have to go to bed now? Aren't I too old to go to bed at 9 o'clock, she complained. Her mom insisted it's time for bed. It's a school night. As irritated as she was about going to bed at 9 o'clock, today she didn't mind. Even though she put up a little fuss, she didn't really mind, because today her grandpa was over. And she knew that when her grandpa was over, bedtime meant the bedtime story from grandpa. And she loved those stories. He told her stories since she was so young she couldn't even remember. And she knew that he always had a new story, a new adventure to share with her, a new way of telling a story that was always different. It always intrigued her. And she knew it was always gonna be great. But she wasn't tired, and it was gonna be, she was supposed to go to bed, and then she was supposed to hear a story, and then she was supposed to go to sleep. But she was too excited. She was excited to hear a story from Grandpa, and she was awake. But she went upstairs, and she brushed her teeth, and she got her pajamas on, and she crawled into bed. And Grandpa came up and sat in the chair at the side of her bed. No book. He didn't need a book. And Grandpa always had a story to tell. He tucked her in, propped up her pillows, asked her if she was comfortable. He leaned over, kissed her on the forehead, and said, "Did you want a story?" She said, "Oh yeah, yes I do." He leaned in towards her and began to tell a story about a young girl who was around the age of his granddaughter, and the adventure that she would go on, and all the things that she would do. Her grandpa had a way of telling a story that his voice would change as he spoke. Not just with the voices of the character, but there was something about his voice that as he spoke, it would pull her in. It would allow her to create movies in her mind, that she would think about the things he was saying in 1,000 colors and 1,000 voices. Everything he said intrigued her. It was a fascinating experience. Like he had the ability to turn on a movie inside of her mind. She loved her grandpa's stories. So he shared another beautiful story. Before she knew it, she found herself yawning, fighting to try and stay awake, not wanting to miss any part of the story. What's going on? She wasn't even tired when she went to bed, but now, oh my goodness, she was feeling sleepy. What was with this? Why was this happening? She didn't want to miss her grandpa's story. As he continued to tell the story, he talked about it becoming nightfall in this mystical land. And as the night came in the story, and he began to explain that it was time for the young girl hero in the story to find some shelter. And as she did, he talked about her laying down on the warm earth with the fire flickering, as this young girl in the story would look at the flames, and each flicker of the flame would make her feel slightly more sleepy and sleepy. And as he told the story, he watched his granddaughter drift off to sleep. We love stories, don't we? We love stories. We've been educated to experience them from being very little. For some of us, it was our favorite part of school. Maybe there was story time when you were in kindergarten. And maybe it was a grandparent, or maybe it was a parent, or maybe it was a friend, but somebody told you stories. But think about it today. Maybe you watch House of Cards. Maybe you watch Game of Thrones or some other show. But aren't you just watching a series of stories. It is the human experience that we love storytelling. We love being told fascinating stories that travel with us and take us on their journey and bring us to new places, that give us the experience without ever leaving our chair, without ever leaving our living room. We have this experience of going on these magical adventures. We don't do it as much now through books. We do it through stories that are told to us with pictures, in movies and in TV shows. But they're still there in books. They're even there in cartoons. We love stories. And just like that little girl in the story I just told you, a story can set you up to have an experience, even when you don't think you want to have that experience. The little girl having to go to bed, not feeling very tired, feeling quite perky, excited to want to hear her grandfather's story, suddenly finds herself all sleepy. Because the story of a bedtime story is made just for that. The delivery of that story is made to make the person listening feel sleepy. Storytelling is an art. It is the oldest form of hypnosis. If you want to be effective at what it is you do, you need to learn to be a great storyteller. So think about this for a moment. What is the story that you need to tell to bring people to you so that they follow you as a leader? Whether you're in sales, whether you're actually in the hypnotic community as a therapist, whatever it is you're involved in, what is your story, and do you know how to tell it in a way that creates a movie inside the other person's head? One of the key things about storytelling is just that. Here's the thing I want you to understand about it. When you tell a great story, you immediately set in motion a movie. There's a movie playing inside that person's head that is your story. But masterful storytelling is when you tell the story so well that not only does your movie play in their head, but it becomes a split screen. And right alongside your story becomes their story. Their movie starts to play. As they start to feel in rapport with you, they start to see that your story somehow collides with their story. There's a connection between the two stories, and they feel a rapport with you because the experience is similar. And if you can tell that story well enough, that you can show the heroic journey, the battle, the struggles, the challenges that you went through, and at the other end of it was resolution, then the person listening to your story can really get a grasp that they can find resolution to their struggle, that they can be the hero of their own story. So consider this. The oldest form of hypnosis there is storytelling. Become a master of telling your story. Become a master of getting them to lean in and want to know more of what it is that you're sharing with them. Till next time, this is Dov Barron, FullMontyLeadership.com, saying stay curious, my friend, stay curious about how you can hypnotize with a story.